In Kenya, police and dozens of men armed with whips and clubs have attacked protesters in the capital, Nairobi. They've been demonstrating against the recent death of a man in police custody. Albert Ojwang was a 31-year-old blogger who died just days after he'd been arrested. Police initially said he'd committed suicide, but an independent autopsy pointed to assault as the cause of death.
Police fire tear gas as they try to restore order on the streets of Nairobi. Clashes have erupted in the Kenyan capital between protesters and police. Swarms of men on motorbikes also joined in and attacked the demonstrators with whips and clubs.
They are watching them terrorize people, stealing from people, stealing cameras from journalists. They are moving around in motorbikes, in whips, and they are masked.
Arrest and prosecute! Arrest and prosecute!
For days, Kenyans have been holding protests over the killing of Albert Ojwang earlier this month. He was a blogger and a teacher who was arrested over social media posts criticising a senior police officer. He died days later in police custody.
People want to see justice done. People want to see that the cops who were responsible for the deaths are arrested and brought to book. That is what people are looking for.
Kenyan police officers have appeared in court in connection with Ojwang's death. The protests, meanwhile, look set to continue.
TW correspondent Felix Maringa was at that protest in Nairobi earlier today, and while there he witnessed what appeared to be two police officers approaching a civilian. You can see it in the footage here on the right-hand side, with one officer shooting him dead at close range. Horrible scenes there on the streets of Nairobi, witnessed by our correspondent Felix Maringa. Felix joins me now. Felix, tell us what happened.
So the police were lobbing tear gas at protesters, and protesters kept pelting stones. So when they got to a road junction at one of the streets within the central business district, the police were trying to push back the protesters, and they were successful at it. They were pushing back and the protesters kept pelting stones. So what happened is that a group of police officers in three police Land Cruisers got to that particular junction. They alighted from the vehicle, and that's when between where the police were and where the protesters who were pelting stones, this trader was standing, hiding so that he could not be hit by the tear gas or also not be hit by the stones. And that's when two police officers approached this trader. The trader actually showed them the masks, the surgical masks that he was selling to the protesters. But one of the police officers shoved the trader with his gun. Then the other one slapped him, and that's when he shot him at close range. And then after that, he walked away as if nothing had happened. They went into the Land Cruiser, and as people shouted that you have killed him, you have killed him, the police officers who were in the Land Cruiser lobbed tear gas at these protesters who were calling them out for the shooting that had just transpired.
You were not the only witness. There were plenty of people there that saw what transpired. What are authorities saying about the incident?
So there was a group of journalists who are covering that at the same spot where this shooting took place. The police have released a statement saying that this particular police officer who took the shot has been arrested and will be arraigned in court. They've also denied that the innocent civilian died, but eyewitnesses, we were there, we saw it looked like this particular individual was shot dead. So the police account and the eyewitness account is not matching, because the police are denying that this particular protester, particular civilian, is not dead, but the eyewitnesses who are there and even the individuals who carried him have a different account of what transpired there on the ground.
It's truly horrific. In past cases of police brutality, officers have rarely been convicted. Are you seeing any signs of that possibly changing now?
It's too early to tell whether there'll be any change because the Independent Policing Oversight Authority has said that it's investigating 60 deaths that occurred in June and July last year during the Gen Z protest, where young people in Kenya were protesting against the government-backed finance bill. So these police officers have not yet been convicted. There is no one who has been jailed for the atrocities, and the police brutality continues in the country. So it's too early to tell whether this will be a turning point within the police force and for the Kenyans who do not feel safe at the hands of police.
That was DW's Felix Maringa in Nairobi. Thank you so much for your reporting.